The numbers suggest seatbelts on school buses work. TEA itself says districts reported more than 2,300 accidents statewide last year alone. Students injured not wearing seatbelts, 435. Compared to those strapped in, far fewer with just 20. This is rush hour right now. We're standing in between the two existing lanes where the biggest solution to this problem could soon exist in maybe 2 years. We're talking about a toll lane. To rank a bridge, TxDOT puts the most value on structural safety, then serviceability, how much life the bridge has left. But the smallest percentage is how critical the bridge is to public use, and that's where traffic count comes into play. If you take a look over there at the fence, that's where the trail actually ends, and without the trail going any farther, people are forced to run and walk for more than a mile up on the street. That's a big danger and an inconvenience. That is where a boardwalk out there on the water would come in handy, but it could take millions more dollars to make that become a reality. Right now, the water's about 6 feet below where it should be. That's all the way up here. But on the plus side, it has created an opportunity for some much needed maintenance in the park.
Indecency at the intersection. Where 1431 flies through 183, one woman had more than a peek from her passenger side window.
She had looked over and observed a white male in a minivan performing a lewd act, basically masturbating in the minivan.
Cedar Park Police Captain Mike Harmon says the roadside risk taker wants people to watch. He did it just a few blocks from the police station.
I can only imagine she was probably thinking he's either a pervert, sick person, or just crazy.
Yeah, I'd probably start laughing at him, but if I was with my mom, I mean, I'd really be pretty upset about that.
The unwilling witness was so upset, she posted an ad on Craigslist to warn others of her unexpected driving distraction. The ad says the driver of the other vehicle continued to stare at the woman as he touched himself. So she grabbed her phone, gave him a choice gesture, and sped off. Her call to police provided few descriptive details. Police say that and the woman's Craigslist post might give the man reason to repeat.
You never know if the offender is also looking on Craigslist and may have observed her.
Harmon says let police take charge to prevent more problems.
You never know what it could lead to. It could be a gateway into other sexual crimes.
He hates to see the intersection exhibitionist strike again, but if it happens, he hopes his victim gets a better look at the license plate. In Cedar Park, Josh.Hinkle, KXAN, Austin News.
This used to be Lake Travis, yeah.
Living on the lake, a dream nearly destroyed by the drought. Pat Mulligan owns one of the 250 homes in Windermere Oaks.
That's all the water that's flowing into Austin right now, right through that little gap there.
As president of the community's water supply corporation, Mulligan's had to make a $10,000 decision as he watched Lake Travis turn to a trickle.
We're building a skimmer barge and we're going to float that over the hole, and we expect to be able to continue to pump water for another 6 months.
The barge and pump they now have has only 3 feet of water left. Farther out, they've located a spot for a new barge that's 11 feet deep, with enough water to last half of next year. So what's all this mean for this community? Try stage 3 water restrictions. That means no watering your lawns with a sprinkler and no washing your cars. And if it gets any worse and they run out of water in the lake, it goes up to stage 4, and that means trucking in water.
Certainly our concern is having enough water to supply our residents.
The water plant operator says if it comes to that point, residents will have a 2,000-gallon limit per month per customer.
Hitting our final filtration stage right here.
This time last year, the community used about 50,000 gallons a day. Now they've more than cut that usage in half.
The residents have really stepped up to the plate as far as water conservation is concerned.
I bought a lake house, not a mud house.
While Mulligan manages what water they have left, he knows the drought will likely last a lot longer, and these solutions are only temporary. In Windermere Oaks, Josh.Hinkle, KXAN News.
It's supposed to be a no-blow zone.
Not quiet enough to hear the crickets chirping, but a lot less loud than before.
And they used to blow all the time. They'd start way back there and come all the way down blowing that horn. And it was bad.
Good news for James Bell.
We come across right here.
Early last year, the Union Pacific Railroad crossing on Duval next to his home became a quiet zone. A section of the tracks where trains usually can't blow their horns. A designation eventually coming to 5 crossings in South Austin too. Matthews, Stastny, Bannister, Oldtorf, and Mary. But they all need safety upgrades. Gate extensions and warning devices mostly. Something to keep cars off the tracks. because drivers won't be hearing this.
You hear it. I mean, it's intense. The dogs bark, you know, everything's awakened by it.
Sometimes it seems like a little overkill. They're kind of blasting it for a while.
A noise we heard neighbors near the crossings complain about last year.
He can hear it resonate through the whole building.
The year before.
There's no reason to wake me up in the middle of the night.
And the year before that.
It's like a blast. It's just really, really loud.
So who's dragging their feet? Union Pacific agreed to start engineering studies last July. Now, nearly a year later, the report is done. The city still has to crunch the numbers. Then the two must reach a final agreement. Only then can the crossings get new safety equipment. The city says that could take another 6 months to a year.
We ask for their patience. It's a long process.
It's a waiting game for the city. Since Union Pacific owns the tracks, they set the schedule. One where caution is a priority. Their website says Union Pacific believes quiet zones compromise the safety of railroad employees, customers, and the general public.
It's known that if the train does not sound its horn at the crossing, the chance of a crash occurring increases 68%.
I'm sure it's better, you know, a couple people being annoyed by it than, you know, somebody actually getting hurt.
And that's when a train came.
Bill says there's been a few close calls at his crossing since trains stopped sounding their horns.
As they come around the corner, they finally see the gate, then they'll stop really fast.
A balance between silence and safety. He understands why the railroad doesn't want to rush this process.
I hope they don't land on that track, and if they do land on the track, I hope they back up quick enough.
The city says it already likely has enough money to pay for the crossings in South Austin through a previous bond, but it can add up. Just adding medians to this crossing in North Austin alone cost around $30,000. In North Austin, Josh.Hinkle, KXAN News.